welcome to fmtraining.tv, where we put together the best live training sessions as well as recorded video courses for the FileMaker platform. This is the place to go for video training if you want video training. So we're big on video these days. We've always been big on video and we're quite good at it. I want to welcome everyone, including our guest speaker. Now it's like one of those like game shows. Our guest speaker is from a foreign country. He has multiple citizenships in different locations. He is amazing and he used to work at Apple as a designer. We welcome Nick Hunter. Da, 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 da. Nick,
hello, everybody.
That's Nick. Yes.
I'm in California, and I want to welcome you guys in the Castle Hunter here in California, and this is where all my gray cells, are boiling when I'm walking here. So, welcome everybody.
Hey, so now, Nick, what you're not seeing is that people are already commenting here and talking. And so we are, as a reminder, we are simulcasting in 1080 on Twitch and on YouTube, so you can watch either way. And what I recommend you do is you go down to that gear icon at the bottom, and if you have an internet connection that can do it, set it for 1080 video and make it full screen so you can see all the stuff that's going on. So today we're doing the beginning of what we call extra lean design. So the last lean design was really good, but it had a little bit of fat we could cut off. So it's when you go to the grocery store or go to the supermarket and you're looking for that beef. For those of you who are vegans, I don't know how you get a low-fat cucumber, but if you go get beef or chicken or something, you get really lean meat, which is good protein. So, Nick, I'm going to let you start off. Do you have anything else you want to say before we switch to your screen?
No. Yes, let me explain a little bit what is all for. This is the first video of a serious video. It's not the only one, right? And so that's the first video. Last year we did a pretty good job in laying down all this gigantic 10 hours of course that we made online. But now what I want to do, I want to go deeper. I want to go more in detail. That's what we are going to do. So we are going to pinpoint very specific things, and we are going to go to the bottom of it. Okay, and I'm going to explain that everything that I want to explain that everything that I'm going to demonstrate during all those videos, all things that I'm using every day. And they mostly save my life most of the time. And then, I'm saving time, I'm saving effort. That makes my solution faster and more performant. Everybody's happy. So it's very important that we go to the detail. I'm receiving a lot of emails from people saying, okay, hey, I saw your video last year, but how you get this done? Some pieces were missing, and we are going to answer, and we are going to fill the gap between all the elements.
Nick, why don't you go ahead and switch over to your screen, show your screen, okay? And as we go, I'm gonna kind of interrupt, so just take a breath every periodically so I can interrupt and welcome people here. Once again, I wanna just spend a really quick moment before we get too deep into this. What I wanna do is remind everyone that we do have again, for a lot of you have updated, I'm just the final push on this for the moment until the end, but a lot of you are supporting the channel with our live training. We really appreciate it. I could name the people here. A lot of you have bought our training. You've renewed our training. That's how we afford to keep the channel running. If you want to support the channel, get the training. If you want a discount on either one of these items here, one's the complete bundle, the other one's the video only training bundle. We can get those. I have a $50 coupon for each of those since you're here watching. Email us at support, the same email you just saw on Slack. Support RC Consulting, and say, hey, because there's a whole tech team there that replies to that. I'll put it in YouTube too. But there's a whole tech team there, people who respond to that. So when you post a question into like YouTube or something, we don't have dedicated engineers that are just patrolling YouTube. But if we have a FileMaker system that reads that email and it loads into FileMaker screens, and we can triage it, assign it, and then we can press a button on your record and it goes and shows what you've done or haven't done, or you bought a bundle or you need to renew, whatever. We can send you the coupon. So with that in mind, I've got all the housekeeping done. We are ready to get rocking and rolling. So Nick, I'm making you full screen. And so why don't you start us off? What are we talking about today?
Okay, so today we are going to talk mostly about what we call the list function. So we are going to talk about that. But at the same time, I want to talk broadly about the list function. I don't want just to explain what the list function is doing. I want to show how you can get the list function and expand it and mix the list function with other techniques and other pieces of element of FileMaker, and then you will see that you build something bigger, right? So we are going to talk about the list function, which is for who doesn't know what the list function is this function here. Okay, so it's the list function, and you can list whatever you want here. See, you can create your own list. So we are going to talk about that. We are also going to talk about something that I like to explain to the people is what we call the distinct. So distinct is a SQL terminology. And most of people knowing me knows that I hate using SQL within FileMaker because it's not SQL. It looks like SQL, it tastes like SQL, but it's not. And most of the time we can do.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. It tastes like SQL, but it has a bad taste. Okay.
Yeah.
For the record, I'm interrupting. I'm having lunch too. For the record, not everyone shares this opinion, but Nick, generally, you should listen to him as a general rule and take everything, just at least listen to it before you just say, no way. Okay, so back to Nick. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying that you don't have to use SQL, but since you know that I was there when that things got invented, SQL in FileMaker is not doing anything else than using FileMaker technology, translating a SQL statement into FileMaker technology. So why you don't just use FileMaker technology in the first place? And look, so far, many people are calling me how I can remove my SQL statement. Why? It's because you can doing very bad thing with SQL and you don't have any safeguards, so you're dancing on the edge of the cliff all the time, and you can fall at any time. So with FileMaker, you have some kind of guidance, you have some kind of rails like on the road, right? So it's simple. So what I want to so for the people who doesn't know what the distinct is doing, I'm going to explain that later. But let's start with the list function. So the list function, I love it. I love the list function. It's great. It's doing a lot of things, but many people doesn't know very well this function because it's doing so many things at the same time and has different kind of results depending on where and when you use it. So that makes a function a little bit voodoo, like I call it. Because when I'm here, I'm using list, I have one result, and when I'm there, I'm using the same list and I have a result completely different. So let's explore what the list function is doing. So like I said, what you can do, if you call the list function, and then you can call from the local. Here I am in the contact table, so that the context I'm in is the contact table. And I say, okay, I want, for example, the first name is C, and I want the last name. So as you can see, the list function is doing something like it's accumulating this information and this information with a carriage return. Okay, pretty much the list function is doing the same job as if you do this. You do this. You do this and you do this. Okay, he's doing the same as this, but so
we do have a question. Whether it's relevant or not, you'll have to decide. So this is from MailSoft. I think that's Don. I think will the list function restrain by found set, or is it based on a relationship?
Okay, it's not restrained by found set. That is part of all my course today. So I'm going to answer the question. But yeah, the question is relevant, but it's a little bit early in the show.
Okay, let's save it for later. Later.
Yeah. But the answer is no. It's not constrained by the found set. Okay, so that's why I want to lay down all of this voodoo aspect of the list function. Okay, I'm going to explain everything. So you have the list function here. What is the list function is doing. So and then you can say, okay, I want, for example, I want the address, and for example, so let me take. Maybe I'm going to take a record where I have an address though. So I want the address and I want the city, for example. So see, I'm typing the city. I want the zip and I want the state, for example. Okay, let's start simple. So you see, I'm building something like that, and that can be great to present things like that, right? Because if you want to send an email or something, or if you want something, you want to create an Excel file or whatever, it's kind of cool to have a function that returns this. And then what you can do, you can add in the middle. So those are things coming from what's the name? A field. So that means if I go to another record, this change. See here, this is changing when I go to another record. So this is based on the current record. See, Jamie McDaniel is Jamie McDaniel. So now I can add, if I want, things like that in the middle. Oops, forgot this. So I can add in the middle strings in the middle like this. So and here I say. So you can mix. You see the list function. You can mix things coming from a string, things coming from a field, and of course you can get something coming from a variable, for example. Okay, a custom variable. You can do that too. This is how the list function is working when you are calling the function. All what you call here is in the same table, in the current table, the same table as the, see, I'm in the contact table, contact, okay? So now the list function has a complete different, behavior when you are not in the local, okay? So let's say now I want the list, so I'm removing this, of the contact first. So now I'm answering part of the question of the person that asked the question. Now what this is doing, I am in this record, I am here in the account, and those are the contacts that are linked to this account. And you can see I have Naomi, Vida, Geneviève, Nicole, Naomi again, Eden, Calista, Vida. See, this matches. This here, those are records. Those are related records because I have 1,000 contacts, right? So those are records, and if I change here, see, those are different records, and the list is changing as well. So now I'm showing this list here. This is how the list function works when you call a field that is on the other side of a relationship. So now, if you do this, exactly the same thing that I did before, but now across a relationship, I want the last, bam, it doesn't have the same behavior at all. Now is bringing me the first record of the relationship, the first record of the relationship. Is no longer doing the same things. That's showing me all the records in the relationship. This is why the list function is so voodoo for people. Okay? So, and the list function is extremely powerful for many things. I'm going to show that during the course of the show. So you see the difference here. You have you cannot have two fields. You cannot call two fields. What you can do now is, if you want, let's say I want the first name and the last name. I want Julie Berger. I want Sandra Joyce. I want Aubrey Wooten. I want that. I want how I can do. Just go to the contact table, create a field that combined the first name and the last name together and call it in the list. Here what happens. Bam. So if you want something like that, if you want to combine 2 fields or 3 fields, 4 fields from the related table and get the list, you need to create a field in the table, in the related table, that combine all the fields you want, concatenated, that concatenated, that's the terminology we were using in the past to do this. And then you can have this, okay? Or you can have a different one. You can have this one, for example. See? So you can have either way, because you can create whatever you want. Or you want the full address, for example. Okay? The full address, you want the full address. You have the full address of the people. So see here, the full address is the concatenation of address, zip, city, state. Correct? So if you want to do something like that, otherwise you cannot do this. You cannot do list address and then having the city. If you do that, BIM, you break everything. It's no longer have the same relation, the same behavior. Okay, so far so good, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so now,
and then if we have questions, they need to let us know the questions. We have a kind of a side parallel conversation that's going off about SQL since we kicked that one over. There's on the YouTube side, there's this kind of conversation about SQL, and the reality is your concerns always with SQL were performance related, and so yeah, if that's the part where you're dancing on the cliff with it, it's real easy to get in trouble asking it to FileMaker to do too much for you. And we ran into that with Calvin the other day. We were playing with SQL a little bit, but we will have a dedicated SQL session, so I'm just going to kind of shelve that conversation for right now. I'm not
downplaying. I'm not downplaying playing the SQL role here. The problem is, okay, and I demonstrated that last year in my 10 hours course, and people can see. Some people are coming to me with crazy things, crazy statement with like a 50-line statement and select this and when this is not, and and do okay, it's extremely complicated things, okay, with SQL. That maybe if you are a SQL guru, maybe the FileMaker is talking to you, right? But when you are a FileMaker developer, sometimes SQL is not talking to you at all. So now the SQL, I could resolve the SQL, all the craziness of 5 or 6 scripts and fields and statements and stuff in 2 relationships. 2 mere relationships. I replace all the craziness because it is true that I'm using the relationship a little bit differently. Okay, I'm pushing the relationship, beyond its capabilities. Okay, so and that will be part of another course I'm going to do, another session on the extra lean design thingy. That say, okay, how we can use relationship and how we can play with relationship and get crazy results. But it's not something that I'm the only one knowing it. They are there. It's just that for most of the people, those are ignored. They're known by very, very extremely ninja guru advanced FileMaker developers. And what I'm doing, and I'm delivering to everybody those secrets that everybody wants to keep so jealously. Okay, I'm not doing that. I'm going to express everything. I'm going to show everything.
Right. Hey, Nick. So let me just help out here briefly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch you. What I want to do is I want to show the website here for the live training. And more importantly, I know that right now this is our live schedule, but if you come up here under individual courses, so normally to support the channel, we say, hey, buy the bundles. We are probably going to get out of the business of selling the individual courses because it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of effort. And so we just kind of wrap everything together in the bundles is kind of our idea. But over here, this is Nick's course. I'm kind of showing them your website. So if you go over here, so you go to fmtraining.tv, you press the individual courses, then the top right one here. This is a free course. There's no money in it. It's free. And so when we talk about lean design, this was last year's effort. All of it is absolutely current and awesome. It's just long. These are all, each one of these videos is probably upwards of close to 45 minutes to an hour, depending upon. And so there's quite a bit of content in here. And so when we hear about the original lean design course, this is of June of last year. Really, really relevant information. Definitely watch this. And understanding where lean design fits in. And then of course that's why we're calling this extra lean design, because it's like the follow-on to this stuff. So I just wanted to frame that because we're talking about it, but I know probably at least half the people here don't know about your original course. They know, they keep hearing me that everyone loves Nick, but they ask, why does everyone love Nick? And the answer is partly because he's pretty talented, and he also has this other course that's free. So it's like 12 hours or 15 hours of free training. So if you want to reward us, just make sure you keep up with your subscriptions, okay? So I'm going to switch back to you. Now they know where to see your original course.
It is very important to me that the people enjoy using FileMaker. It's very important to me, much more than money. And that's why I want the people to know what I'm using. I want the people to know how to use this product and get things out of it. Then they're happy, their boss are happy, everybody's happy. And that's what matters. It matters to me that people love a FileMaker. That's it, right? So now I'm going to show you, let's say, more crusty things. Okay. So here we all got what the list function is doing, right? So the last thing I want to show about the list function. Yeah.
Well, before you, go ahead and show that, but then we do have a question here from Ron.
Okay. So you can see here on my screen here, I have two lists of people. I have the contacts, link. I have the contacts here, and I have the staff. Two different lists of people with two different names. And I don't know why, but you know what I want? I want to combine the list of the last name of the contacts, right? And I want to combine the list of the last name of staff. So how I can do that? Very easy. You do a list in the list of two lists. Bam. So now you have two lists combined together, right?
Yep.
So you can do that multiple times.
Okay. So really important question here. I'm gonna jump into Ron's question. So this is kind of I'm gonna let you swing at this, Nick, and I might help you a little bit if we need it. But Ron's question is: can the list function be used in any calculation, and or is it just for displaying data? So I can just say it can be used anywhere. That being said, please, here's what he says. Please explain how you would use this. So you've showed some stuff. Some of the people here are not understanding the relevance of why. Why is this important, Nick? Why should Ron care about this at all?
Okay, so why we should care? But I mean, let's say you have a list of you have this list, okay, and I want to know how many times I have Ford in my list. One time. So let's say how many times do I have a common? I don't have two names the same here, but you know what I mean. Do I have Ford? Is Ford there, or is Gomez in the list? Gomez. Yes, it is. Is Hunter in the list? No, it's not. Zero. Right. So this is why this could be interesting to do. You have a list. You have people. Right? You have related data, and you want to know if somebody is there, right? Or I don't know. I don't know. Most of the time, also what I'm using is I'm using this. Let's keep this. Get rid of this, and I say, okay, I want the four first. I want the 4 last names of this list, for example, the 4 last. Okay, so I'm going to go to write value. I go this, and I say I want the 4 last. Or I don't know, that this is how you use this. Okay, so you can see that you can use this into calculate. Now I can show you unusual way to use list function, and this is all the goal of this course.
Right,
Okay, about
right.
the list function.
Yeah, and Christian just mentioned this too. Basically, where we talked yesterday about, we talked about, we had a wrench, right? That it was at the channel locks wrench that we had, and it was a tool, right? And the list value, actually, the list value very much goes back and helps with working with virtual lists. But Christian said this is like a screwdriver. So what is the purpose of a screwdriver? Does it have any one thing? This is a screwdriver you're going to use on 500 different things.
Yes. So let's say for example, you want to export this in the SQL, for example, let's say, okay, you want to export this, and you say, okay, you know what, I don't want carriage returns. For them, you want to change this list, not by carriage return, but you want to change this. I'm going to show you this. You will see this is interesting. I want to change the carriage return into a pipe sign, for example, or a comma, for example, okay? So I want to replace this with the semicolon, for example. Oops. See? So that's the list. How you can do that without the list? How you can get multiple records and say, okay, I want to export this into a file that with this, for example, or you want pipe, for example, you want the pipe sign, right? So you have the pipe sign. You can do that. I'm using that all the time, okay, to do this here, okay, because I have we can other way. There's so many ways to use this. For example, you want to know what the position. You want to know what the position of this name, for example, in the list. For example, you see here you have the list of people. So let's go back here. You have the list of people. You want to know, okay, in the list, what's the position of Gamble? You can do that with, okay, it's a little bit more complicated. You need a let statement. You need to do some things, right? But I can, if you want, I can prepare that for tomorrow, and I can show that tomorrow.
Well, I have a sample that's coming from Nathan Schneider. Nathan is a real kick-ass guy. It is the correct Nathan I was thinking about yesterday. Welcome, Nathan. He's got a sample that he has sent us. We're going to work on a way for you folks to directly send me files without going through email and stuff, because the computers that we have here, it's kind of funny. So we're doing broadcast stuff here, and those are different internet accounts than our tech support account. So I can't really get the tech support. So I'm telling my tech support team to read Nathan's email and to forward it to me on Slack. We'll fix that. That's good. We're starting to get people who are contributing back to the conversation that want to show things that have relevant pieces of conversation. Andre was like that. Nathan's like that. So, yeah, so they're sending it to me right now, and I will move it over here. But we'll have a Nick, if you want to keep going. But it's
yeah. Otherwise, you know what we can do. I can show multiple application at the end.
Yeah, yeah, we can do that, and I want to show Nathan's as well, so that would be cool. So why don't you continue for the moment? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So we're back to full screen with you. Yes.
Okay. So I want to I want to continue the course here. So now I'm going to show something more crusty. How many times you guys has a problem with such construction? Let's say you want the first name, space, and the last name. But if there's no first name, you don't want a space here. And if there's no last name, you don't want the space at the end neither. And you don't want to deal with the trim and if the last name is empty last name, or don't show the space, and if it's not, you don't want that. Why you want to go to this craziness? Okay, this is what you do. Okay, this is why I'm showing the. Okay, first of all, you say, okay, you want the list of the first and the last, okay, and then you say substitute this. You remove the carriage return and you replace by a space. This will do the job automatically. Let me show you. So this is what this calculation is doing here. I have the calculation into an auto entry calculation here. I have the first, the last. I want to replace the carriage return that the list is returning. I replace the carriage return by the space. So why this is doing the job is because the list function here will return a carriage return here only if there's two value in the list. If there's only one value, whatever is only Jamie or only McDaniel, there's only one value, so there's no carriage return. So if there's no carriage return, the substitute is not doing the replacement, and is not adding the space, right? So now I want to make the thing even more complicated, right? Let's show you something. Let's say I didn't have it, but just I have the middle name, right? So I have a middle name, okay, and I want to add the middle name into my calculation here. So that's why I want to show you how this simple is. No cases and if is empty and all those. No. This is not linear. This is linear.
Okay, so question. So David's asking, and I'm jumping down just briefly here, but David's asking, hi, how to create a list of name last from California, from CA. So
yeah, okay. I'm going to show that. I can show that. It's not difficult. You just need to mix the list with a relationship. I'm going to do that. I'm going to show that. But what I want to do, I want to make this a little bit more complicated here. I have three now. The middle, the last. Okay. So let's say, and let me put this is improvisation. I didn't want to do that, but I want to make it because this is making the point. So now I have this here. You can see I have one space here. I don't have space here. I don't have space here. So now I say Jamie, David, bam. I have a space here. I have a space here automatically. Let's say I don't have first name. I don't have first name. Bam. I don't have the space here. I don't have the extra space. I just have the space like the way it should be, and I don't have an extra space at the end. Let's say I have only, I don't have this one. Let's say I don't have this. See, it's doing the job automatically, whatever you do. Okay. Yep. You can even have a D like that. See, and you have the space position always positioned in the right place, if there's or not. So now you can see this one here with the comma. How many times you guys outside struggle to get last name, comma, first name? But if there's no last name, I don't want the freaking comma. And if there's no first name, I don't want the freaking comma neither. So how you do that? Very simple. Always with the list function. That's why I want to introduce the list function before I can show you that, right? So I have my last first here, and here is how it's done the same way with the comma. That's it. That's awesome. Very simple.
That's awesome.
Okay, so that's it. Comma space, and the substitute. So you need to mix two things. Remember what I said last year. I'm going to repeat that. FileMaker is an assembly of multiple little parts. Okay, just what you need to know is what to take, what to use, where and when. This is what you need to learn. You don't need to learn on anything else. So, but to do so, you need to learn what list is doing and what substitute is doing. When you do that, you know that when you know all the little secrets of every single function, you can combine them together, and then you get something new. So now let's say I want to answer the question of of our user developer that asked the question. He want the list from California, for example. So let's say I have a global field here. I'm going to create a global here, and I'm going to create. You want the list of people. So I'm in contact. So you want the contact. You want the list of so let's
last name. Yeah. Create a list of last names from California.
So actually, I didn't put I didn't position myself right. I should position myself here. So now you want the contacts, okay? You want the list of contacts for this account, for one account, okay? But in the same time, you want the states to match. So what you use here, you use a global field, then you can enter what state you want to enter, and then you can you combine. You have a multi-predicate relationship. So you use a relationship. You use a relationship to get you the data, and then you use list to display the data. List is not going to do any filtering for you. The relationship is doing the filtering, because the function is going to apply to the records that are out of the relationship. So let me demonstrate. So now I have this contact by state, Okay. So I have this new thing here. So let's go to the account here. I can, I can put that on the side. I don't need that for the moment. So I can create here. I can put my global, okay, global state, okay, and then I can put my what's the name? I put my relationship here, right? The contact. What's the name? The contact by state, okay. So contact by state, okay, and contact by state. So now that I have the relationship working, so I don't know where the state are, but I can do something here very actually I want to show you that later, but I don't know the state of these guys. So let me add the states field, then I can type something that is relevant. So I'm going to put the state here. Okay, so I want the people in Georgia. So now if I do the list using the contact by state relationship, and I want the last first, for example, I have it. It's there. Bam. So it's a combination of two things, right? The relationship, and then you ask the list is going to suck up the information you have. Pretty much the list is showing you the same data that you can get out of a poll, but you cannot get you cannot get a poll in a calculation. So you need to have the list. You need the list in order to and obviously the list, for example, I want to know, for example, somebody asks what the application of this. Oh, I want the count of this, for example, right? Not count. Because count, I don't need the list. So it's true, but that's all the application. But anyway,
no, you're doing great. Basically, Top Cat said that was awesome. We've got Peter Boyce from Brisbane, Australia, and he said there's people saying, "Oh, God, I wish I'd known this years ago." Peter did ask the question or mention it. Hi, guys. I'm sure you are getting to this, but how do you deal with the text fields that have a return inside the data within the field. So there's an ASCII 13. He's asking about an ASCII 13. That's
okay. No problem. I can answer the question. That happened to me all the time, so I know I can tell you what it is. So let's say you have a field. You have a text field. You have a text field. Okay. And inside the text you have things. And now I have a text. Okay. Clear. Okay. So what this? It's here. I say, okay, substitute in the text the string this by space. So now this will change.
All right.
I don't know if you see where I'm going, if I want to go, but this now will change. So I have the text, okay, which is this, and I can this, and I have the clear text. So now, if I say hello, my name is Nick. I am in the middle of a presentation. Okay, so here what happens. I don't have the garbage return anymore.
Yeah.
So now you can easily use this, right? And then what's the name? Get the data inside the list. So you know what I mean, right? So it's now if I get that into a list, here what happened. Look, I'm going to show you. If I'm doing this, I'm asking the text here. Is going to text. Is going to do this as the person asked. But if you say you don't want this, you want the text cleared, this is what you have. So now you can use this in a list presentation. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. There's a little bit of a pause here. I've got about 3 or 4 conversations going here. Michael says, awesome. Elzo from Brazil said, holy cow, this has saved a ton of time. I've been wrestling with this for a while. Imog, the guy who's normally here all the time, obviously has been in the jail, and he just got out of jail, and he posted bail, so he's out. He's finally showed up, which is awesome. Welcome, Imog. We've been missing you. And then Top Cat says great, and then like I said, Michael said it's great, and then Wally says that this is really great. What Wally says, he says this is nice to follow even for a newbie. So the idea is that it's great ideas. There's some advanced things here, but we present it in a way that new people can kind of get some value out of it, which is the whole idea.
But that's the point. I'm working hard. I worked all the evening yesterday to come with this file to try to get something example that everybody can get. But it's so simple. Everything is it's full of sense, right? So let's get more on this. How many of you guys have struggled to put this freaking comma in the middle of an address? I'm asking.
I would say half the people here, at least I know I have. So
yeah, because if there's no, let's say you have only the zip, the city, and the state, for example. If you have only this, okay, you don't want this freaking, you don't want the space, you don't want, if you have an address, a full address, you want it, right? So how you do that? Exactly the same technique here for the full address, but you do a little bit more. It's a combination of multiple things, and this is where the let statement get involved. I'm going to have, I promise you, and Richard, we need to schedule this 1 or even 2 sessions on the let statement. The let statement, this is what we call the let statement. Let, okay. If you go to the help you start reading the help and then you give up after 5 lines. Okay, so but unfortunately, the let statement it's mandatory. You cannot
Stop! Stop! I swear. I don't know if you guys watched the Lean Design course. You must stop. Okay, this is where we have to put a translation in. Okay, I have to stop and explain to you what he just said because it wasn't English. Mandatory.
I said mandatory.
That is not a real word. It's mandatory. So this is French and Greek, whatever, mixed together with alcohol, and then you get mandatory. So
No, I don't drink alcohol.
You don't drink alcohol? Well, you
No.
sure act like.
I'm drinking chicory. Okay, so no, it's true. I'm drinking chicory. It's the best anti-cholesterol in the world. Okay, the let statement it's mandatory, and because you cannot get to the next level if you don't master the let statement. And I want to schedule 1 or even 2 sessions to explain the let statement, how freaking powerful it is, and how easy it is to use. And when you got it, you can't even write one calculation without it. Right? All over the place you put the let statement because it saves you so much time. You can't even imagine making the thing much faster. So you have everything to gain to learn the let statement. I know if you go outside, you watch all the videos and stuff like that, you say, okay, I give up. I don't understand a word about what he says. I'm going to explain that in very profane language, and I'm going to show you many examples, crescendos, right? Small, little like this one, and then crescendo. So here, what I'm doing here. So I'm using the let statement. Let statement, it's pretty much it allows you to put on the table things that you need to use later in the calculation. You know, between those brackets here, this is where you say, okay, the address is this field, the zip is this field, the city is this field, the state is this field, right? And then you say, okay, hold on, now I want this. We call that a statement. Okay, that's what we call a statement. That's why we said let statements. Okay, so a statement means this equal. I'm using a substitute I want the city, the zip, the city, and the state, and I want to substitute that with space, right? And then this is something I want to prepare beforehand. I want to prefer before. So pretty much, if I'm exploding this calculation for you, this is what happened. Okay, so let's walk. Oh, by the way, you need to learn to use the data viewer as well, because data viewer is pretty much a debugger for calculation.
Yep. We spent a whole day on whole hour on that in the last week and a half or so.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
In
fact, actually, your timing on this is really good because we spent a lot of time on virtual lists. And so a lot of this plays right back into that. It's similar material but presented differently. But see, the thing is with Nick is that he's done so much performance work with FileMaker when he was working there that he knows where all the secrets are to make it go really fast. See, I was never a fan of the let function until someone actually explained to me that when you let this thing run, the speed of the execution of the calculation here is way fast because of things it's able to do. And so I'm a fan of something if it's really fast and it's not crazy, stupid, complicated. So, you know, this is where I know you're like, oh, damn, I got to look at okay, what's this bracket and what's that bracket and why are these there? And then what happened? What does this mean right here? And you start to look at this, it's overwhelming. But if you spend a little time and go through this, then you will really learn how to make some fast stuff.
It makes the thing faster for multiple reasons, but the first reason is because as soon as you said that address is equal to this field, Each time you call address in the calculation, let's say you call address 10 times in the calculation, it only computes the result once. It's going to reuse what is already said. If you put contact address, 10 times in the calculation is going to compute 10 times contact address.
All right, let me spend a moment and explain this, Nick. So here's what he's saying in plain English. So there is actually a data it's a really good analogy, but I would, if I was doing a video, we would be making a graph. So there's actually the database engine, and it actually is, imagine like an Excel spreadsheet, and these are the values that are in there, okay? And then over here is this other system which is doing a calculation. It's actually separate code in FileMaker. And as this thing's running around, if you say go find the address contact, it's going to go over here, talk to this system, dig down here, find the record, find the field, and bring it back. And that little process takes time. So what he's saying is we define it once over here. It does it once, and then from there on, it's just going to reuse that piece. But if you put address in here 5 or 8 times, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it's like all over the screen. It's really out of control. So, yeah, I know. iMog just lost his shit. So, sorry, iMog. So there we go.
No problem. No problem. Yeah.
iMog's got his hands on his head. Yeah,
so if you okay, so let's say for example, what address is this? Okay, so what zip is this? Okay, correct. What city, what state, for example? Oh, state is Wisconsin. Okay, so now what list n is doing this. So it's taking the list of zip, city, and state, it's taking this, right, and it removes the carriage return replaced by a space, which pretty much what it did. Okay, so this is ready for me. So now I have my final calculation. Let's say, take the list of address and list n. So that means I want this and whatever inside this. So this here looks like this. See, you have address, then carriage return, and you have the free, what's the name? The free fields that the list n is doing for me. And then I want to remove again the carriage return and replace by a comma and space. So that's what you have. So that's what you have. You have this. Okay. So I have this. I have the address here. This is my comma. Okay, and then you have this. So this is what you have now. So if you don't have the zip, for example, no matter. I don't care. If you don't have this, I don't care neither. It's only if, like, let's say you don't have, let's duplicate this. You don't have this, right? And you don't have this. Bam, you don't have the comma. Now, if you say, for example, let's take another address. Okay. If you don't have this, you don't have the address, for example. You don't have the comma neither, because this is where you have the final calculation that's doing the final comma replacement, right? So you can use this technique for many things. I tried to lay down some examples that were relevant, but you can express that, at the end, if you want, you guys, I can show you many applications. I'm using pretty much, I'm using that for my, let's say, the back end, for my custodial work, for my preparation. I'm using that where I have to deal with IDs and stuff like that. I'm using a lot of lists. But most of the time, it's not for a direct application. It's for a building block. It's a building block of something else that do something, right? So it's most of the time I'm using that as part of a bigger thing, as a bigger element.
Right. Once again, a reminder: if you want to see where Nick is lean design, you go to the FM training website. You actually go to the the individual courses tab and come over and you can watch this free course right here. And then obviously, if you want to help sponsor the channel like a lot of you are doing here, and I'd love to name all your names, but sometimes between where you buy it and your call sign on Twitch or YouTube, that doesn't jive. But Nathan, I know, and Elzo, and a bunch of you folks here are supporting us. Make sure you keep your bundle up to date. If you'd like the bundle at a discount, make sure that you email support once again at RC Consulting. Ask for the coupon. Say, Richard had a coupon, $50 off. And they already have a kind of a canned email for you. They'll send it to you. And that's how we support this broadcast, because this isn't free, despite what everyone might think it is. So if you have comments or questions or ideas, send them to support at RC Consulting. It's really the catch-all. Nick, thank you. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guys just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected. The quarterback, great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Trying to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap, stands in, throws it left for Amendola, reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10, rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.